Church, good to be with you. I'm going to try and yell over the waves. I'm here at another favorite spot, this time in Carlsbad, not Oceanside. And if you know where it is, you know where it is. Today we're in Ezekiel chapter 25, which I think is really important for us because it begs this question of what do we do with God's judgment? What do we do with these images of God as violent, punitive? Is God good? Is he trustworthy? What does his vision of justice look like? And I think that there's, even in a text like this, there's some good news that's working its way through. So we see three judgments on three different tribes surrounding Israel for their dishonoring of God, their dishonoring of Israel. And one of the ways that God does this, that it functions, is that he removes his presence or his blessing. See, these were tribes that were in and around Israel in different capacity. And God, in his mercy and his provision, had actually allowed them to continue to exist. It wasn't this eradication to begin with. Now, they eventually transgressed a certain boundary and they dishonored God and Israel. So God is a just God. And sometimes he removes from our lives his presence or his protection, his blessing, when we reject it, when we violate a boundary line that he's drawn. And so it's kind of the consequence of our own actions. Does that mean that God is this angry, vindictive person coming after you and me? Well, if we're really honest, I think a lot of us have internalized that view of God. And it's something that thwarts the beauty and the power of his love and his gospel. Because we default to viewing him like that when we've done something that we know to be wrong. We go to this place of shame, of fear, cower, expecting the punitive, angry God to show up. Well, the truth is, the cross reveals the fullness of God's heart. It's the good news, the daily hope today, which is that, no, God's response to our brokenness and our shame, sometimes it might be he withdraws his blessing and his protection, because that's what we've asked for through our actions, through repetitive behaviors or beliefs. See, he's a respecter of our choice and our personhood. So if we really say, no, I don't want it, I don't want you, and I don't want your love, your mercy, your protection, your inclusion, your health, your power, your freedom, he's not going to force himself on us. God's a gentleman in that way. No, he's always inviting, always wooing, always waiting patiently to see any movement on our part. Because he's always moving towards us. He's always wanting to just overwhelm us with his love, with his grace and his forgiveness. So I'm grateful for passages like these, as complex as they may be, because they help reveal some of my stinking thinking about who God is and how he works, help me name some of my fears, and ultimately helped me to recenter myself in the gospel good news, which is that it is for freedom that Christ has set us free. He came not to condemn the world, but to judge it. That God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. He took on our pain and our brokenness. So that's what he does. That's what he offers to you and I in this moment. And he invites us to be so enraptured by his love that we can move out in mercy towards the tribes around us and to welcome them and to try and include them into the kingdom. It is good news today. It is good news for always. May you be blessed, church. Have a great day.